Hello, and thank you for listening. My name is Luke Mardigian, and you are listening to Be Insured, where we talk about business, leadership, and insurance. That way, on your worst day, when you need it the most, you will be insured. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to tell you about a phenomenal resource we created just for you called the Ultimate Commercial Insurance Roadmap. This guide breaks down the 4 major things every business owner must look out for in order to save money and ensure their company is properly protected. You can get your hands on this guide right now by heading to beinsuredonline.com. That's beinsuredonline.com. So, Eric, employer-provided life insurance. It can be a nice perk.
Yeah, 100%.
But if you are under the impression that it's enough to protect your family in case of the unthinkable, you need to think again. We see far too many people rely on their employer-provided life insurance plans only to be diagnosed with cancer and suddenly not be entitled to the benefits they thought they had. I'm all set. I got it at work. So if you're listening right now and the only life insurance policy you have is through your employer, then this episode is for you. And joining me today is my awesome co-host,
Eric Gestring in the Mardigian Agency.
Eric, when a client turns to you and says, I'm all set, I already have life insurance at work, what tends to be your response?
Every time I go, well, is it portable though? And every time
like a speaker, like a boombox, a portable speaker?
that you can carry around with you and go anywhere you want.
It can go with you.
Yeah. So portable would mean that if you were to change jobs, careers, and you want to go a different path, is that life insurance coming with you? No. 99% of the time it's not.
Yeah. Now, sometimes it is, but with underwriting.
Yes.
Right. So now you still have to qualify.
Again. Yeah.
So it's the same as having life insurance.
And then, like you said, when you get, this happened for my dad. Okay. So my dad had life insurance through his work and then got cancer, like Luke brought up in the intro, and he ended up passing away. Well, by the time he passed away, he was deemed non-employed by his employer. So
because how long did it take from the time he was diagnosed to the time he passed away?
It was 5 months.
Wow.
So, yeah, 6 months, and it happened that fast. And
yeah, so you almost have to, if you have work life insurance, you have to kind of hope that you die really quick.
Yeah,
right?
You're gonna hope that it was just an accidental death. You know,
yeah,
you got hit by a train.
You better be diagnosed with cancer today and die tomorrow.
Yeah,
otherwise
you're not gonna collect that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about your story with your dad is that how closely it matches my cousin Katie's story. Now, my cousin Katie, she was like a sister to me growing up. I have 2 brothers, so the only kind of girl that was in the family hanging out with us growing up was Katie. And Katie played hockey. She's a bit of a tomboy, but she was super cool. And so she ended up getting married to this great guy, Matt, the skater dude. You know, love him to death. Has 2 beautiful kids, and she was diagnosed with cancer after having some pain in her neck. You know, she's just like, my neck hurts. She went to the chiropractor a couple times, thought that's all it was. Ended up getting MRI, and there's cancer in her spine, in her neck. So she went through chemo 3 times. The 4th time it came back, she just said, I'm done. I can't do this to my family anymore. It's not worth the fight because it might come back again next time. And she passed away. That took from the time she was diagnosed, from the time she said she had neck pain and kind of figured things out, to the time she passed away, it was 3.5 years. So she had insurance at work. By the time I was in the business and actually sat down with them, she had lost all of her benefits at work.
No.
She had a small policy through Matt at his work. Thankfully, that covered some expenses, but it wasn't enough for 2 kids under 11 years old. And it's just, you cannot bank on your employer's life insurance because you'll end up in the same position as Eric's dad, Steven, and my cousin, Katie, where it's just, you end up kind of with nothing.
Yeah. You're left high and dry. And
yep.
I mean, we get this false sense of security from our work providing it. I mean, I think it's great that a workplace would provide it, but if you don't...
It's cost effective typically. It's pretty cheap.
If you haven't read or haven't asked your HR person that signed you up for that, if this is going to be still good and worth it when I'm fighting cancer and not working here and whatnot, or if I leave this place, do I have to requalify for this life insurance and it's going to cost me more, or am I locked in? These are the questions you should be asking, but honestly... The best choice is what, Luke?
Just get your own policy. Take control of your own life. It's 2020. if we learned anything from the economic downturn, the Great Recession, as they call it, which is really an economic depression, we went through like 5 years of economic contraction. People are losing jobs left and right. People are leaving the state of Michigan in particular in droves. Our population was the lowest ever in 2012 after 4 years of downturn.
And we had the highest unemployment.
Why would you rely on the same employers who just screwed you over 10 years ago and you lost your job and had to move out of state, and or your friends did, or your brother did, or your cousin did, somebody got really hit hard in 2008, and we're still relying on our employers to take care of us as if that's the be-all, end-all. That's a concept that was started 100 years ago with the formation of unions. Particularly in the we're a big GM town here in Lansing. Ford's headquarters in Chrysler's are just an hour and a half away. In the automotive sector, they demanded these benefits because the companies are making so much money. Mm-hmm. It made sense, right? But then what happened when GM stock went down 99%?
Layoffs.
So bye-bye benefits, bye-bye pay, bye-bye everything.
And then guess what they did? Started hiring temps.
Yep. And providing no benefits.
No benefits.
No pension. Even if you were hired as a permanent employee, you have a 401k that they barely match. So why are people relying on their employers when it's proven over time you just can't rely on them? It's not their job to take care of your family.
It's because agents aren't having this conversation with their clients, Luke, like we do.
Yep. Well, that's with my cousin Katie. I mean, it took me a week or so to kind of get over the emotional hit of the fact that I didn't get in the business sooner and I didn't have the conversation sooner.
It's weird how we try to own responsibility for situations like that, but I mean, that was something you had no choice in the matter. There was nothing we could have done to prevent that. But from this point forward, we're getting it out there so all of you know the truth about employer-provided life insurance and how it's not necessarily the best option. I've had conversations with many of my clients where they've obviously said, I'm all set, like Luke said to begin with, and I don't need any life insurance. And I literally say what I just said to rebuttal that. And they go, well, I don't know if I can take it with me. And then I go, what if you get cancer, and give that story? And they go, oh, I don't know. And I'm like, you should probably talk to your HR person.
Yep.
Well, probably half of the life insurance that we've wrote through my clients, they've related to that story and freaked out and questioned their employer and found out they don't have
portable.
Yep, it's not portable, and they won't have coverage when they have cancer.
I mean, basically, unless you work for an insurance company, which is good probability if you live in Lansing. We have like 15 insurance companies here, but in Lansing, Michigan, it's like the insurance headquarters. Unless you work for an insurance company, it probably isn't portable. Like, unless it's like if you work for a company that sells life insurance, then they're going to have some pretty good options for you. But if you just work for like the dental office as a receptionist, there's a reason why it's so cheap.
Especially government employees. A lot of them think that they're all set and they have the best of the best for everything.
Yeah.
And we found that their life insurance is not what they thought it would be.
Yep. And
from having conversations.
And then you realize that you can buy more, but then you look at how much it costs to buy more, and you can just go get your own policy.
Mm-hmm.
And you still have to go through underwriting.
Mm-hmm. That's the other thing we didn't touch on is the amount. How do they know? How do they know what amount they should have?
I don't know. They just gave me whatever I just said whatever they gave me.
Well,
that's the most popular answer that we get.
And what do you always say?
Oh, you probably should know. It's typically 1 or 2 times your salary. Do you know which one it is? Oh, that sounds about right. That's literally the most they know. And they're completely relying on the life insurance is meant to buy time for the people you love. So if you're listening today and you actually love your spouse, you look at your wife every day and you go, man, I am so lucky I have her. You look at your husband every day and say, he is a good man. He provides. I am thankful for him. You look at your significant other and you go, oh, life would not be the same without them. That's why you buy life insurance, is because you want to buy that person time if something happens to you. You walk out in front of a bus because you're looking at your phone and checking Twitter or something. I know nobody listening would do that, but you want to know that your family is going to have time to
mourn and deal with the loss,
whatever they need to do.
Yeah, you shouldn't be stressed about getting back to work right away. I mean, this is the lifestyle in our society right now. Is I have to get back to work. My friend's starting to GoFundMe. Hopefully that helps.
Yep.
That's literally how 90% of society is right now.
Yep, that's a strategy,
and it's sad because it doesn't work.
Well, at the end of the day, if you really do love your kids, let's just say you're single, but you have kids and you're from a previous relationship. You really love your kids. You love them so much. You do anything for them. You spend hours reading books to them and doing math with them. You take time to get them, nice clothes and get them dressed and out the door with their hair done, and you get them to school on time, and you care about your kids and you invest in your kids and you build Lego sets with your kids. If you're not there, who's going to do that for them?
Exactly. Well, life insurance could pay for kids going to a camp where they can have tons of activities and things to do if you're not there while your spouse is mourning the loss of you and trying to figure out what the next steps
whatever
are.
That looks like for them.
Paying off a mortgage.
What life insurance gives you is options. And when you have 1 times your salary at work, you don't leave very many options for the people you love the most.
And I guarantee you that your employers are not having any of these conversations with you talking about the life insurance or the HR person that your employer has in place.
Either they don't know or they don't care.
Yeah.
I've never had anyone talk to me about it. I was a cop in the city of Lansing here in Michigan for 8 years. I just met with, he's still a cop. They own a business. So we were sitting down talking about insuring the business. And he literally said something like, I don't know, I've been talking to HR. I'm trying to figure out I guess the city gives us like $50,000 or something. These are cops. This is like the most dangerous time in the history of the world to be a police officer. Yeah. And he's not really sure what he has because the city hasn't given him a great answer or a real proper response.
Wouldn't you be concerned?
He was concerned. He's a smart guy. He's really smart. So he was like, so we need to talk a little more because I'm really worried since they can't give me a straight answer. Yeah, and that's government. I mean, that's doesn't get safer than a government job, right? I mean,
another thing I noticed, a lot of people say, well, a GoFundMe can help me a lot. Well, I'm sorry, but the people that are taking the steps to protect their family and themselves by buying life insurance, look at that and go, they could have just not went to McDonald's every night and got their own life insurance. Yeah. And it's going to make them hesitant to want to donate. It is sad when people die and it's unfortunate and accidents happen, but why are you not taking the steps to be proactive and understand that tomorrow is never promised for anybody? And that's a lot of the reason why the GoFundMe doesn't work.
Well, I typically, if I'm not sure if somebody really believes, first of all, we talk about if there's love in the house, there's usually life insurance in the house. So many people we go in and it's like clearly love each other. They probably already have life insurance. They probably are all set. But when you walk in and it's like, I don't know if these people even like each other. I don't know how long this is going to last. You kind of get a weird vibe from it. I usually just ask them, so is your plan if something happens to John that you're going to just kind of start a GoFundMe? And you'd be shocked that probably over half of them go, yep, that's exactly what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Hope don't float.
It doesn't.
You're hoping that people will be generous to you.
And we just want to make sure that the information's out there for you guys and make ourselves available to you at any time. If you guys have insurance somewhere else and you guys just want to have that conversation about life insurance, I want you to reach out to Luke. He is the life insurance guru for our agency. So, Luke, what do you want to leave an impression on everybody with right now?
That I am talking to myself with this. I left the police department in 2010. I always get the dates confused. It's 2010. And went to the private sector. And they offered me life insurance. And so I can specifically remember calling Lucas Way, who was my insurance agent at the time and now my managing partner, and saying, hey, I got insurance through work. I'm going through, I'm separated from, my ex-wife now. I got these kids I got to take care of. Money's super, super tight. I'm just going to let my insurance policy go. And he didn't fight me on it. And I can't blame him for not fighting me on it because most people make decisions, they made decisions. But what a stupid decision for me. Really, I was going to leave my kids with the $125,000 that this company that I worked for was providing for me. $125,000. That would have got my kids maybe a year and a half. And then it would have all been on my ex-wife to take care of them. And that's just unacceptable to me.
It is.
So if you're listening and you're like, well, these guys are being really judgmental. No, this was me. I was the dummy who decided to just rely on his work insurance because it saved me $25 a month. Eric, 20. Did you hear me?
That way you could go to Big B and get your coffee.
What was I doing with $25?
Your everything bagel.
Maybe if I didn't go to CrossFit for $100 a month, then I probably could have taken care of my family and just done some push-ups at home. I don't know. That's an idea.
And the only reason why Luke's bringing this up is because we care. So
100%. Just like I I wish somebody had cared for me at that time. So if you've heard some of our previous episodes on life insurance, you know how passionate Eric and I are on the subject. We've been directly affected positively and negatively by life insurance. And I can't stress to you enough how important it is to have adequate coverage before it's too late. If you want to learn more about better life insurance plans for you and your family, we would love to help you. Send us a message on Facebook and let's get the conversation started.
And as always, stay in touch with us by following the Mardigian Agency on Facebook and Instagram.
Yep, and that's Mardigian, the Mardigian Agency. Thanks, and we'll see you next time on Be Insured.